In this video, we will be discussing the concept of limiting reagent, sometimes called limiting reactant. We can use the pizza analogy from our previous video to look at things like limiting reactant or reagent and theoretical yield. So as a reminder, there's a very specific pizza recipe that one might have that requires 1 crust, 5 ounces of tomato sauce, and 2 cups of cheese to produce 1 pizza. Suppose you have 4 crusts, 10 cups of cheese, and 15 ounces of tomato sauce. How many pizzas can you make? What we will find is generally one of our starting materials is going to run out first. This will limit how much we can produce. In the case of pizza, what we need to do is figure out how many pizzas each one of our allotments of ingredients can make. So we have enough crusts, we have 4 crusts, and it takes 1 pizza per crust, so we have enough crusts to make 4 pizzas. For the cheese, we have 10 cups of cheese. Each pizza requires 2 cups, so we can use our ratio of pizza to cheese to determine that we can make 5 pizzas from the amount of cheese that we have. We have 10 cups of cheese, it requires 2 cups of cheese per pizza, so we can make 5 pizzas from the amount of cheese that we currently have. We can do a similar thing for our tomato sauce. We have 15 ounces of tomato sauce. It requires 5 ounces of tomato sauce per pizza. And so if we take our 15 ounces times 1 pizza per 5 ounces, we get an answer that from our tomato sauce, we can make 3 pizzas. So if we look at how many pizzas we can make with each one of our set of ingredients, we can see that the maximum number of pizzas that we can produce from the ingredients that we have on hand is 3. And the thing that will run out first is our tomato sauce. When we're all done, we will still have enough crusts to make 1 additional pizza, and we would still have enough cheese to make 2 additional pizzas. So because our tomato sauce is the thing that runs out first, we will call this our limiting reactant. This is the thing that runs out first that dictates how much end product we can make. And the way we can tell that this is the limiting reactant is by calculating a common thing. In this case, how many pizzas each can make, and we look for the smallest one. Whichever one makes the least, that's the one that's going to run out first. Looking at this more pictorially, if we have 4 pizza crusts, we can make 4 pizzas. 10 cups of cheese will make 5 pizzas, and 15 ounces will make 3 pizzas. So the one that makes the least is our tomato sauce. So that will be the one that limits how many pizzas we can make. In the pizza analogy, the tomato sauce is the limiting reactant, which is the reactant that makes the least amount of product. The limiting reactant is also known as the limiting reagent. Depending on where you look, you will see it used as one of these 2 terms. The maximum number of pizzas that can be made depends on this ingredient, which is the tomato sauce. That maximum number is called the theoretical yield. In chemical reactions, the maximum amount of product that you can produce is called the theoretical yield. The theoretical yield is the amount of product that can be made in a chemical reaction based on the amount of limiting reactant or reagent. So the example, the ingredients that make the least amount of pizza determines how many pizzas in theory you could make. However, we are generally unable to make the maximum number. So let's assume that while making the pizzas, you'd burn one or drop one on the floor. In this case, only 2 pizzas become available to eat. This means that your actual yield of pizzas would be 2 as compared to the theoretical maximum or the theoretical yield of 3. In a chemical reaction, the actual amount of product that is made in a chemical reaction is called the actual yield. And we can get an idea of the efficiency of a process by looking at the ratio of your actual yield to your theoretical yield. The actual yield is about efficiency. To determine the efficiency in making pizzas, we would look at a percentage value that can be calculated. In chemical reactions, this is called the percent yield. the percent yield is equal to the actual amount that you made divided by, in theory, how much could you have made if the reaction went to completion and you were able to get back all of your end product. We take that ratio times 100 to convert it into a percent, and in the case that we have here for our pizzas, you made 2 successfully out of the 3 that you could have possibly made from the ingredients you have. This would give you a 67% yield. In chemical reactions, you will never get more than 100%. In lab, there will be times in which it looks like you have a greater than 100% yield. This often comes from having some of your solvent still attached to your end product. So for example, if we were making some sort of a compound through precipitation, if you don't get your end product completely dried, you would be measuring, in addition to what you produced, some of the water or other solution that has not been completely dried off. So while experimentally you will find occasionally that you do get more than 100% yield, anytime that you actually do get more than 100% yield, you should take a look at what you're doing and making sure that you're counting for everything. A lot of times you might still have some of your solution that needs to be evaporated off.